It's Hoge Jahns.
What's up? Welcome in after 1 a.m. Chicago time right now. The Bears won a game.
It's 2 o'clock in the car of Kevin Fishbane here on the way back from Landover, Maryland. Going back into Washington, D.C., if you could see me.
No one can see you, Johns. You are in the darkness of D.C. right now.
There you go.
There's some light. Yeah, we are doing a makeshift Hoge Jahns for you because this is pretty much the only time as Johns has to travel back tomorrow morning. It has been a very, very long time since the Bears last won a football game. I believe 346 days, as our producer Kent just put on the screen. If you are still awake right now watching this, you're either up late celebrating in Chicago or you are a fan in London that's just up ready for work. I don't know what else to say. So Kevin's driving that car right now, Johns?
Yeah, Mark Potash is in the back. I say hi, Mark.
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
He says hello.
Hey, Potsy.
Here's Kevin right here, everybody.
Okay.
This reminds me of our old adventures back from Detroit, where we would do a podcast in the early Hoge Jahns days. Sometimes covering wins, coming home from the Thanksgiving games. You, me, Fish, JD. Lots of fun. The Bears played well. Adam Hoge, Justin Fields, another good game. DJ Moore was absolutely outstanding. 230 yards receiving, 8 catches. The biggest catch of the night, obviously, that 56-yard catch and run. If you're the Bears, you got to feel just amazing. What I could give you, the vibe that I got is, I don't know if you want to call it Club Dub or what have you, but something's back. The music was blasting afterwards. They were dancing in that locker room, Adam.
Yeah, Flus was the Bears put out a video from Flus's speech and to his team in the locker room. He's talking a lot about how close they are and how they won this game because of how close they are. So, all good vibes. That's good. I want to know from Mark Potash, though, what's his adjusted win total now after tonight's amazing performance?
Mark Potash, question from Adam Hoge for you. What's your adjusted win total for the Bears now?
Well, that doesn't come out until next Monday.
That doesn't come out until next Monday.
Oh, a tease. You got to
it'll probably be
+1.
+1. Yes, that's good math there. I like that from Potsy. I guess we'll have to wait till, his column on Monday in the Sun Times. Comment here from Chris White, though. Fields needed this W bad. I hope he can run with it. I think that applies, Johns, to this entire football team, but definitely Fields. We talked Sunday after that awful loss to the Broncos, how much that had to hurt to have Fields play like that, to really show some growth, but not be able to get over the hump in the fourth quarter and not be able to get the W. Tonight, they were holding on by a thread. They didn't have a running back. Their offensive line is decimated, and yet they're able to come out with the win. And yes, I think if you're going to pinpoint, maybe the only person besides Justin Fields who needed a win more would have been Matt Eberflus, but whoever it is, they badly needed this victory.
And you just got to love how they did it. It was the simplicity of it. It's getting the ball to your best playmaker and a comeback route, curl route, whatever you ever want to call it, and having Kendall Fuller trying to jump the route because the Commanders are pressing, they need plays, and he misses. He puts the ball in a good spot, nice high spot, and DJ Moore goes the distance. I mean, he was a threat all game long. You have to like what those two are doing, and you saw all throughout camp, and now you're actually getting hard numbers on it. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous over the past couple games. New career highs for DJ Moore, 230, 3 touchdowns. You have to like it. But, yeah, I don't know if Matt Eberflus quite enjoyed the win as much as he should. Maybe he will in the plane ride back. He seemed more relieved than anything when he was talking to us after the game. At least that's the vibe I got. I was 2 feet away from him, so not a lot of smiles. DJ Moore was all smiles, kidding around. His fiance called him in the middle of the press conference, Adam, and he answered the phone call. Just in a great mood all around, DJ Moore was. Matt Eberflus was a little bit more subdued than he was for sure.
Well, yeah, I think relief is probably the right word because Look, I was only in Flus's press conference yesterday. That was yesterday, right? Yeah, it's been a weird week. That was yesterday. So I wasn't there earlier in the week, the ones that didn't go well, Sunday and Monday. But I don't know how else to really describe it yesterday, but it was just sort of somewhat awkward, and I didn't sense a whole lot of confidence even for coming from the head coach this week. So I'm sure there was a lot of relief. I mean, how do you lose 14 games in a row and not have a sense of relief when you finally win one?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'll say this: as much as maybe we tried to put Matt Eberflus on like the hot seat, after 4 weeks, and maybe he should have been, maybe he shouldn't. I was never buying the scenario that the Bears were going to fire him after this game. It just didn't seem real to me, just considering the history and how long we've covered this team, knowing the Bears don't have that really in their track record. They prefer to let the coaches go all the way through the full duration of the season. But yeah, like this team did not look like one that was ready to quit on its head coach. There's been a lot of stuff that has happened, I think, this year. Chase Claypool being the latest, latest situation, what have you, that they've had to deal with off the field. But yeah, in a sense, like the way I saw this game, you saw a lot of like young players and unsung heroes, have you, like guys like your third stringers coming off the bench and playing key roles in this game. Like sometimes it helps, that youthful exuberance helps in a lot of ways, but I didn't get a sense that this team was ready to quit on this coach whatsoever.
No, and I think that was evident early on in the game. I mean, there was no question they were playing hard. And I was curious about that.
Greg Stroman Jr.'s story today, like guys you don't usually bring up in conversation. Yeah, sure, Andrew Billings we've talked about a few times. He's one of the Bears' best defensive players, made a huge stop early on in the game, but like to see plays being made by guys you don't even think about like until you have to because of all the injuries and how decimated they are, in particular in the secondary, like that's a good thing for Matt Eberflus. That's a good thing for his staff. I don't know how you can put it any other way.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, because I honestly thought it was on the table that this could be a wow, do we really have to go on a short week on a flight, and maybe the effort wouldn't have been so good, but it was there today. And again, I know I went on this like rant during the week. I still think effort's like the bare minimum here for being an NFL football player, but it was still out there today. You give him credit for it. A couple people, including Logan here with this $5 super chat, pointing out how comfortable Justin looked. I agree. I think to me, that's like the biggest thing from these last two games. And I thought he looked, well, the big difference was I thought Sunday in the fourth quarter, he looked uncomfortable again. I thought he showed a lot of, sorry, real quick. I thought he showed a lot of confidence in that game, but then the jitters started coming out a little bit in the fourth quarter. You could almost see it watching the game. And tonight, despite all your running backs being out, I thought he held his composure. He didn't get shaken at all. And I think from that standpoint, that's a good observation from Logan and some others in the comments. It's a big step forward.
And that's a defensive line that was really highlighted coming into this game. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Those are first round picks. Those are guys that have a lot of sacks in this league. And this is a defense that not too long ago gave the Bears offense a lot of problems. They smacked Justin Fields around a bit. They got to him a bit today, but I would say that this Bears offensive line won more snaps against that defensive line than the other way tonight. Like, especially with having a rotation at left guard, losing Lucas Patrick, more moving pieces on that offensive line. I think they did their job better than we all expected they would. I think they won the night in a lot of ways. That's why Matt Eberflus highlighted them like right from the start, but just even watching them, like that 58-yarder and the third play from scrimmage doesn't happen on 3rd and 8 if he doesn't have protection. The protection was good from the start. It was good enough to win, Adam.
Yeah, there were a couple breakdowns here and there, but overall, considering this matchup, how much we talked about it this week.
Yeah, those breakdowns are going to happen, but like this is an offensive line that we've ripped a bunch in a lot of different conversations. They were better than good tonight against this defensive line.
Well, and again, theoretically, if they can get healthier, if Tevin Jenkins can stay healthy, if Braxton Jones can come back, Darnell Wright with his youth, like this should be an offensive line that trends in the right direction as the season goes along. A lot of ifs there that I just laid out there, but it is on the table that they get better, now there's some questions about the running backs and how healthy they can be, but I guess it's a good time to have a few extra days here with the long weekend.
You want me to ask what Kevin Fishman, what he thinks?
Well, a lot of people in the comments are asking for
talk.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think you guys kind of hit it on the head. Our ramp was closed, and so I was a little distracted trying to get us back to our hotels. But I like, how about Jalen Jones coming in the game at that last drive for Washington when they're down 10? He comes in the game. You're talking about your number 7 corner, if you think about it. Flus sends him on a blitz twice. Both times he impacts the play. One is a loss on a screen pass. The other pass falls incomplete. Joey Slye misses the field goal. I mean, when bad teams don't have things like that happen, but everybody kind of came together to support DJ Moore and to get this win.
There you have it. The Fish fans analysis.
Good
Get
stuff
this home
from
safely here, and where are we?
Great question.
I think we're in Virginia now.
yeah. It's how many states do you drive through when you're actually around
Well,
DC? 2 states and a district, right?
yeah, I was gonna say the District of Columbia is a fish without a state, Adam.
Well, I'm aware. That's why I called it a district.
Well done. Well done. Just making sure.
Yeah.
You know your United States geography.
What's going on here?
What I was gonna say though, since if we're gonna be hard on the coaching in some past games, there were some moments in this, like Jalen Jones coming in late, knowing what to do. How about Kari Blasingame? Like, I was wondering what they were gonna be able to run with him at running back. They were still doing zone reads with him. I'm like, when's the last time he took a zone read?
Well, Kevin, what was your stat? This is the most carries that Blasingame has had in his career.
Yeah, he more than doubled the number of carries he had in his entire career.
More than doubled. The reporter sitting in the front row of that corner press box, we're kind of rooting for Velus Jones Jr. to come in there and get a look at a few things since he doesn't play as much. But, I mean, you lost Equinemius St. Brown as well. Like, Tyler Scott was out there in important third downs. Just, that's I think, an important takeaway, just how ready some of those guys seemed to be when they needed to be in a game that was looking much like the Denver Broncos game for a little bit there when Sam Howell was impressive, by the way, when Sam Howell was throwing the ball all over the Bears defense.
Yeah, he also missed a touchdown pass behind. He's
Johnson,
fine.
Right?
Yeah, he's fine. There was a low-key also moment. I think Flus pointed out in his post-game presser on Justin Fields sliding down at the end of the second quarter. In the moment, it looked like he easily could have gone out of bounds, and he slid, and I pointed out on Twitter, I'm like, I'm guessing he did that for clock purposes.
Yeah,
but
smart play.
It was almost so next level that I was reluctant to want it, to give him credit for it, but clearly that's what he did. So, I mean, we're listing off examples here after a win of things that actually point to good preparation. And if we're going to kill them after bad losses, I think it's only fair to give them some credit here tonight.
Adam, what we have is those positives that we were looking for and trying to discuss a few weeks ago, or maybe our last podcast that didn't exist. Like, you could talk yourself in circles about what Justin Fields was doing against the Denver Broncos, but it still wasn't good enough for a win. He wasn't good enough in crunch time. Today, the Bears were good enough, through all 4 quarters. They made plays when they needed to in the fourth quarter, on both sides of the ball, whether it's getting off the field, forcing the 46-yard field goal, or whether it's DJ Moore being DJ Moore. But they did enough for the win, and there's actual positives to talk about now after a win. First win in the books this year.
I know that view in the press box there is not the best. Did you guys think DJ Moore was out of bounds on that one long player they called out of bounds?
No. I don't think it looked like that in the replay. Didn't even seem close from our vantage point. Now, it's not the best angle for that. We're not exactly in the sideline, but from where we saw it, I think all of us were surprised. Some of us in the press box were like, what is he doing when he was hopping around kind of angrily there? Because it didn't look like he was even close going out of bounds.
Yeah, so weird. But there was an official right there. I guess I don't know what he thought he saw, or maybe he saw it right and nobody else did. But there wasn't a really good camera angle on the broadcast either. So he could have had 5 touchdowns tonight.
Yeah, 4, Adam. 3 plus 1 is 4.
That's right. He had 3.
Or you could go to Obvious Shirts and go to 1 plus 2 equals 6. Check
Yeah.
that out now at obviousshirts.com. I'm good at this.
That is good. I know why I was saying 5 though, because Justin Fields also missed him on that deep ball. Or not deep ball, the ball in the red zone that he had him in. He just overthrew him. So that's why I was thinking 5.
Here comes part of the adventure here.
Yeah. Are you going to take us all the way into your hotel room?
if we have to get the job done, Adam Hoge, we will. At least in the lobby of this hotel. Everyone say goodbye to Kevin Fishbane.
Kev, appreciate. Hey, thanks for the ride, buddy.
You got it.
What are you writing tomorrow, Kevin?
I don't know. Hey, Hoge, how about those special teams today? How about Trent Taylor finally getting some opportunities in punt return? Looked all right.
Yeah. There was that one punt return the Bears let up though. We got to work on those lanes a little bit.
Will you check me on Joey Sly? I feel like he's kicked a touchback every kickoff this year.
I believe it. That dude can boot it through the end zone.
It's a Fishbane fun fact right there.
Former almost Bears kicker.
That's right. The way I can respect that is I almost feel like he was on the Bears.
He's kicking me out of the car. Say goodnight.
Okay, bye. All right, that was enough special teams talk. All right, thank you. All right.
Kevin Fishbane's ready to go to bed.
He started that. I didn't even do it. That was all him. All right. We do have a comment here that says, bring us in for a potty break. I don't know if we're going that far.
No,
All day 97, $9.99 super chat here. Shout out to Hoge Jahns for still doing this show. No matter the time or circumstance, it's why I love you guys. Fishman for president. And a little fish emoji there, too.
Now you're seeing how the, we'll call it the meatloaf is made as we come home from a game.
Meatloaf? Let's, we can, maybe a nice steak or something. Yeah.
Now comes the part where we have to use the key to get into the hotel, and we're in.
Kent, what was the last super chat? Lomansky, $10. My uncle Don put me in a headlock when I was a kid. Don said, you're getting a butt kiss. It's a fond, great memory. 51 left us a winner tonight. We cherish the life he gave all of us. And that's definitely something we should touch on before we get out of here tonight on a wild post-game edition here of Hoge Jahns. But yeah, the Dick Butkus news, very sad today when that came across right before the game. Was there any, Johns, was there any discussion about that afterwards from Flus or any of the players or anything?
There was a moment of silence before the game, but I guess DJ Moore gave the best anecdote in terms of how they all found out. And DJ Moore, he was just basically on his phone scrolling through Instagram when he saw the news, and he turned to Darnell Mooney and just like, oh shit, did you see this? And that's how the news kind of spread amongst Bears players like an hour before the game. So I'm sure there's some still raw feelings among some of the players, especially those who may have gotten to know him, maybe some of the staff members and whatnot. But man, like Adam, you and I are Chicago kids. Like, you grow up hearing stories about Dick Butkus, right? And then you get to see him at NFL films, like the pictures of his just taped and bloody fingers, right? You know, like the way he violently tackled players. And then it's on YouTube. Like, I've shown those highlights to my sons, like, just to get them pumped up. Like, stories are passed down in just terms of how he played the game. You know, at my grammar school on the Northwest Side, like, the best player on our team always wore number 51, and that jersey was passed down from player to player. It wasn't selected by, like, the coaches or anything. The players themselves passed it down from player to player to player, number 51. And it was, the jersey changed over the years, but that number 51 itself went from player to player, selected by players in terms of toughness, leadership, and, of course, their on-field abilities. I remember that today, you know, because that's what I go back to. My youth, my playing days. I didn't wear it. You know, I was number 33, number 15 when I played in that school. But, it's a somber day for Bears fans everywhere.
You saved me a zinger there by just admitting that you didn't wear the 51.
I did not. 33 is not a bad number, though.
No, for Tillman, right? Even though it was probably before Tillman was even playing.
It was pre-Tillman, if you want me to show my age a bit. But, yeah, everybody, we're Chicago kids. You always hear the Dick Butkus stories, like the old men had their stories in the taverns about Dick Butkus, that's for sure.
Well, and just the history of linebackers, right, in Chicago, and, of course, Butkus being a huge part of that. I do think that there are kids that grow up here that take pride in playing that position, where maybe some other places, I want to be a wide receiver. I want to play offense, right? Like, and here there's a certain pride growing up playing defense, playing linebacker. I mean, I know I see that on the high school level, and a lot of that.
100%.
Yeah, is this, and not that those kids necessarily remember Dick Butkus, but it's just the pride of that position, and that always starts with 51 here in Chicago, and really just one of those athletes in Chicago that always was part of the family. You could always look up to. I don't know. I've never heard a bad thing about Dick Butkus, honestly. Yeah. I mean, he's. I think George McCaskey kind of hit it on the head in his statement today that he could be like, kind of come off as like this grumpy guy, but really, if you talk to him, he wasn't. He always had great stories. Every time I interviewed him, he was always gracious with his time and always had great stories about George Halas and Gale Sayers, and so this one's tough.
I feel like it was week 1 where he's on the sideline drinking a beer, talking to Lawrence Creedon during that thing they do during the games, Yeah. Just saw him. But you're right. Yeah. Just a legend has passed. Dick Butkus, man. Like that's Chicago Bears football.
Well, if I had a beer right now, I would cheers it to Dick Butkus, but we can do that sometime tomorrow or sometime this weekend as we enjoy a Bearsless weekend. Adam wants to know what type of snack you're going to get at the hotel. It looks like you're in a courtyard.
I am in a courtyard. This is the
I could tell. I could just tell by the lobby. Yeah, just
veteran travelers we are.
I mean, if you go with all these Marriotts like we do, you can just tell by the lobby what type of hotel you're in.
Sometimes by the smell. I'm not lying.
We'll get out of here in a second, but there was one more football question I wanted to address. I think it was Aaron was asking about Pickens and Dexter. I would love to hear some perspective from the Adams on Dexter and Pickens. Anything stick out today? I actually thought Dexter flashed a few times, and I mentioned this on CHGO earlier. I'm interested to see the tape. I'm interested to see the snap count for one. It felt like he played more. I thought he flashed more, and I really feel like that is a player, Dexter in particular, who could help unlock this defense and specifically that defensive line as the season goes along. Pickens, I'm not as bullish on right now. I really did not think his tape against the Broncos was very good. He didn't necessarily flash to me tonight like Dexter did. So that's kind of where I'm at on those two right now through 5 games.
Dexter definitely had a big hit on Sam Howell. They were coming into our end zone, so they had to be the first or third quarter. So maybe it was the third quarter. I almost thought at some point, or at least at some point during that play, like, this is going to be a penalty because his body weight landed on him. No penalty called, but he flashed. In one instance, when the Bears were in goal line down there, and made note that it was actually Dexter and Pickens. So there's obviously some trust in a key situation like that, not to have, Andrew Billings and Justin Jones. And obviously you have a rotation going on. Maybe they were just up, but you can still sub a guys in and out, when you need them. And so I thought that was notable. Yeah, I'm interested to see the snap counts. I did think Dexter flashed more than Pickens, and it should be that way, especially if Matt Eberflus is going to talk Dexter up into the passing situations. But they're young players. Sometimes it can take a little bit for the big plays to come to fruition.
Well, they really, with the way Billings is playing at the one technique, they can live without Pickens, really jump in as a rookie, but they really need somebody to become that consistent penetrating 3 technique. So if Jervon Dexter can become that guy as the season goes along. That would be huge for unlocking that front seven right now. That if we're going to be critical on anything tonight, I still don't leave tonight, Johns, with an incredible amount of confidence in the defense. They only gave up 20 points. It's been a long time since they did that.
Three
But
sacks, though. Didn't they have 3 sacks?
yes, all late in the game. I tweeted we were well into the third quarter, if not fourth quarter, where the only sacks they had were TJ Edwards and Greg Stroman. And they had at least 3 missed sacks where they had Sam Howell in their grasp and couldn't bring them down. So I'm glad they got the sacks at the end in garbage time. I don't want to call it garbage time, but it was, they're taking tee off because they're throwing the ball. Sam Howell came into this game the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Good, they got a few sacks tonight. They still need to get a lot better defensively, in my opinion, as they move forward here.
Yeah, you know what? And sometimes that's just a matter of experience for young players. Then personnel changes or personnel additions down the road. Because let's face it, they need some young pass rushing help. They might need some linebacker help. They might need a few things, and they need some healthy players in the secondary. If I had any takeaways, as we get out of here, like my final takeaways, DJ Moore was outstanding. That's the number one superstar wide receiver. You saw everything the Bears expect out of him, especially when they included him in that trade from the Carolina Panthers. It's another game that Justin Fields can build off of, and that's great for him right now in terms of being in year 3 and year 2 of this offense. The production is now matching the practice work. That's great for him. And number 3, I mentioned this earlier. If you're Matt Eberflus, this locker room still seems to buy into what you're talking about, like your most important players do. And I think that's something to, rest your head on, a little bit, especially given that you're looking at 15 straight losses and you ended that tonight.
Well said, Johns. And I'm sure you and Kevin have everything covered on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns for all their coverage from DC tonight. Actually, this ended up being close to 30 minutes anyway. So pretty much one of our normal post-game episodes here. We did it halfway in the car, halfway in the courtyard lobby. Well done by you.
2 states in the district, baby.
Yeah. And how many? Yeah, 2 states in a district we covered tonight on Hoge Jahns. Actually, 3 states because I'm in Illinois.
Look at that.
There we go. We're just all over the place. Thanks to Kevin for driving us home. And if you need more coverage, the CHGO Bears podcast, we did over an hour and a half tonight. So you can check all that out as well. Corey Wooten was on. You can hear his thoughts. And hope everybody enjoys the weekend. Bears win. It's been a long time since you've been able to go into a weekend with the Bears victory.
All right. Enjoy the holiday weekend. Be safe. And, watch football. Watch stress-free football on Sunday.
There you go. Check us out, HoganJahns.com. You can follow us on Twitter at HoganJahns as well. We will be back Tuesday after the weekend, kind of regroup. Bears starting to prepare for the Vikings by then, and we will have you covered next Tuesday. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you then.
See ya.